Shri Hare Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamba Rati Sarvayantikam Vande Mam Sikaro Sita Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sadhajatam Sahaganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Sattam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Vijapate Govesha Gopi Kapanta Radha Kanta Nosute Tathakam Shanto Nandi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sundari Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatirudhyasya Kripa Sindhu Yedhasya Adivanam Panayo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we want to first do the Achman, the purification. So you all have a cup. And in first chant after me. Om Apavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavasta Gatopi Va Yasmare Undrikaksham Savaya Vyantara Suchi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Then you can take the spoon in the right hand, throw 3 drops in the left hand and throw. Just drops, not scoops. Okay, take the spoon in the left hand. Now 3 drops in the right hand. And throw. Again 3 drops in the right hand. No, in the right hand. 3 drops in the right hand. Drops, not scoops. Look at the water and chant Om Kesavaya Namaha and sit. 3 drops in the right hand to throw. Drops, not scoops. Drops, not scoops. Om Narayanaaya Namaha. I forgot to tell you to put the water. That's it, yeah. Okay, 3 drops and throw. Again, put 3 drops in the right hand. Look at the water and say Om Narayana Namaha. 3 drops and throw. Great. Done. We can also change the neck beats now for those. Meanwhile, I'll start talking. So if you can just change without talking, that would be really good. Okay, Kitty Govinda, I'm trying to give a talk. Everyone please quiet.
Maharaj, do you think one garland is missing?
That's okay. It's really not a... It can quietly be found, but or made or whatever, but if everyone just allows me to talk. So the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is coming by his personal presence and by him carrying the holy name. And it is said that we string that holy name on our neck like a garland on the string of humility. And it is ultimately that which is the real garland. And all flowers are also good, but less important. The essence is the chanting of the holy name. The chanting of the holy name. Pass the garland, please, ladies.
Thank you so much.
So, the chanting of the holy name is the very essence of this whole ceremony. It is the Maha Mantra that is really sufficient. Simply in exchange, and when the mantra is given alone, but the mantra is given by the spiritual master, who offers also his prayer along with the mantra. So it is, and his prayer is backed by his service and by the blessings from the senior Vaishnavas for performing that service. So in this way, the spiritual master, by the blessings that he collected from the Vaishnavas and from his devotional service, can invoke the mercy of the Lord. Then when we receive the holy name, then that holy name is potent. And Krishna chooses to work through this relationship. We are making a personal connection with our spiritual master. Like someone said, isn't Prabhupada just enough? Yeah, but it is not. It is not. Krishna is actually working through the spiritual master. Krishna is entering into this relationship. While we are here in this sacrifice and preparing to exchange vows, then at that time, Krishna will enter, and Krishna will use that relationship both for knowledge to come down, for mercy to come down, and also for offerings to go up, as we are offering through the spiritual master to Krishna. So that relationship, at that stage, it's really no longer necessary that we bring our gold scale and put the spiritual master on there and see like how much of an Uttama Adhikari is he now in whatever may be, somehow or other, Krishna is present, and Lord Chaitanya is present, and in that way it works. It is adequate for going back to Godhead. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is our founder Acharya. So Srila Prabhupada set the standards for the modern age. In this modern age, Prabhupada determined that 16 rounds would be enough. He brought it down. Lord Chaitanya said, I will not accept the offering from anyone who chants less than 100,000 in the Chaitanya Bhagavad. But 100,000 not rounds, but names, which is 64 rounds. But it has been brought down by Prabhupada's mercy and prayer. So it works. Of course, some people may chant 64 rounds. That is all right. But then you have to get up very early, because otherwise you can't do any service. Then you just be chanting the whole day. If you get up at 1 o'clock, no problem, or 12:30, yeah, it's like, then you can do it by 9 o'clock. So then you're ready for the day, like at the same time as everyone else. But if you can't do that, then it's going to affect the service that we're doing. And the service is essential, because the service is the preaching. The service is what is changing the madness in the world. We need to see that Srila Prabhupada had a very great mission, and that his mission is not completed, and that we are basically his disciples. They certainly did a lot, absolutely. They worked very hard, but still the work wasn't finished. And not in 1977 it was done. No, a lot was done. Prabhupada did a lot, his disciples did a lot, but so much was there still to be done. And that is now our turn. That's why I say Prabhupada was not so impressed by so much chanting. He was impressed by making devotees. He was impressed by preaching, and he was impressed by, of course, a minimum of 16 rounds, he said. And sometimes he also said, why 16 rounds? Why not 16,000 rounds? So his mood was not stop chanting 16 rounds, now it's done. When someone's beads were hanging on the doorknob, and Prabhupada saw them, then he said, whose beads are crying? They were actually the beads of the local GBC at the time. This is interesting. It was interesting. That it was a... but Prabhupada meant the beads are there simply always with us, so that whenever there is some time, then we can chant. But it is Prabhupada who explained that in his explanation to the Maha Mantra, which he basically took from his spiritual master, which he recorded on the flip side of that record. And he's explaining how there is the sensual platform, the mental platform, the intellectual platform, and the transcendental platform. So our consciousness is divided. On the spiritual platform, there is the soul. But the soul is on the spiritual platform not active. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta explains in the conditioned state, the soul is dormant. So then all the energy goes from the platform of the soul onto the platform of intellectual platform, mental platform, or sensual platform. Now, because in the beginning, especially in the beginning, we are very much on the sensual platform. We are going to vow to follow 4 regulative principles, but we have not necessarily lived with them for a very, very long time. And therefore, the pushings of the senses are still there, still pushing towards sensual activity. And we have to fight. We have to fight with our lower nature. That fight continues. And because our energy is in the sensual platform, at least a portion of our energy is in the sensual platform, then Srila Prabhupada explains it's advantageous to do service with the senses, to engage the senses in service. And we see that that's like what this movement is doing, like a lot of practical things, and a lot of that, and not so much chanting, because we're still so much on the sensual platform. Then just engage those senses and work hard for Krishna, and in that way one becomes purified. Then in due course of time comes the second initiation, and then one is meant to be in the mode of goodness. at least try to be in the mode of goodness, at least have an awareness of transcendental knowledge, some familiarity, and begin to associate with the mode of goodness more, bring more mode of goodness in one's life. The second initiation is also an initiation, and it's also a transformation. It's also meant to be a step up. It's meant to be a change. It's not like, okay, now I just get some Gayatri mantras, how much fun, how nice, oh, I can go on the altar as well, great, and that was it. No, there's a lot more. In the first initiation we vow about what we are not doing, no meat, fish, eggs, and so on. In the second initiation we are looking at having saintly qualities. That's not a small thing. You step on the altar, you step in the spiritual world. It's also not a small thing. It's right there, spiritual world. You just step right in. Of course, we're not so qualified, so we follow rules and regulations while we're there, but that is the second initiation. So, we engage the senses, but also the mind. The regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam is essential, because it is immediately purifying the mind. The mind is just, there's a constant stream of thoughts and a constant stream of desires, thinking, feeling and willing are the constant functions that are going on, and what do we do? So, by hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, somehow or other our mind becomes purified, and we begin to remember. It comes back again and again. Some of those things that we heard, they begin to enter into our thoughts, and therefore one must flood the mind. One must just flood the mind with transcendental sound vibration. Simple thing. Have some lectures on your phone and turn it on as soon as you get up in the morning. Or if you're really smart, you can set up an alarm, and that automatically goes into a lecture, and in that way, all you have to do is carry your phone with you, and that's not difficult. That we can do. And so in this way, somehow or other, to make an arrangement to hear about Krishna. Because we hear so much rubbish, and that also goes into our consciousness. We're living in the world, the so-called information age, and there's a constant pipeline of rubbish into our consciousness all the time. And so one has to, of course, the Bhagavatam is so much more powerful that when we actually hear the Bhagavatam, it penetrates very deep. And not only on the level of the mind, but also awakening the soul. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhikarunai Sadhanai Sudha Chitta Karya Udai. Udai means awakening, so gradually the soul is awakening. Although for many lifetimes the soul has been asleep. Because the material world is just too boring. And therefore it's mind. The mind that is busy with the material energy. Oh, look at this. Accepting and rejecting. So in this way, we have been so busy. So after the initiation, we should continue to do what we already did in terms of spiritual practice, but also try and make it stronger. Try now to get more serious. Now is the time to read the Bhagavatam. And it's really after initiation, then when I say, okay, now is the time to read the Bhagavatam. Although, if you haven't even finished the Bhagavad Gita, still start reading the Bhagavatam. And get back to the Gita, because it's time for the Bhagavatam. And I'm going to ask next time I see you, where you are in the Bhagavatam. Check on it. Because this Srimad Bhagavatam is our saving grace. That is our central book. That is our main book. Bhagavad Gita is an introduction. The Bhagavad Gita is entering into the material realm. It is transcendental knowledge coming into the material realm. Here's Arjuna, he's bewildered on the battlefield, just as we are bewildered in the material world. Now what to do? Krishna, then he surrenders to Krishna, and Krishna says, Asochanam asochistam prakyavadam sivasase gatasuna gatasanscha nanusushanti pandita. You are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. The wise lament neither for the living, for the dead. There's no point about hankering, about lamenting. All these things are simply a waste of time. Because our relationship with this material world is not real. The material world is real, but our relationship is not real with the material world. That's the point. We have so many relationships with material things, but they're not real. Because they're temporary. So how is that real? Exists today and not tomorrow. So all temporary relationships are not actually real. But we have so many. I have so many friends that I used to have that now I never see again. Were these not real relationships? No, they were not really meaningful. So Bhagavatam is explaining. Bhagavatam says like two straws that float together in the river for a little while and then are separated by the waves of time. So we must develop that very transcendental vision. One simply develops the transcendental vision very easily by rising above. Whatever is going on now, rise above and look at it from the platform of eternity. For a moment in your mind, climb on the platform of eternity and look at your present situation. And what are you doing in the present situation to connect with eternity? That is the question. That's the only meaningful things we are doing at present. All the other things, how meaningful are they? Of course our devotional service is on that eternal platform, so that is very meaningful. But if it's about, brushing your teeth and so on, okay, you need to brush them, but how important is that? Of course, dentists say very important. But I cannot spend the whole day brushing my teeth. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, max. That's all, I hope, good enough. And so to minimize, gradually we're minimizing on a personal level, our involvement with the material energy. As simple as we can live, we live. For preaching, oh yes, we get entangled with so many material things in the service for Krishna, we will do. But for our personal life, what do we need? How much do we need? How much should we endeavor for all these things? Better we are free to chant Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada makes an interesting comment in the purpose to the Chaitanya Charitamrita where he says that the devotee householder should not desire to live like the material householder. And I thought that was meaning the devotee is satisfied, to be more simple. So more time for Krishna. How much do we need? Something. But should we really take a huge house with a huge mortgage? Huge mortgage and pay for 40 years? Is that really necessary? I don't know. And then you work for it for 40 years and then it comes to the kids and they waste the money. I did. Not everything, but some of it. So in this way, but Krishna will give us, by karma we are receiving a material situation, so whatever is there. But that is fine. Whatever we have been naturally given is fine, but not that we start to over-endeavor for material expansion at the expense of our investment in our eternal relationship with Krishna. Let us keep time to chant Hare Krishna. Let us keep time to chant the Bhagavatam. If there's no time for the Bhagavatam, then maybe we should change something. Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe we're too materially ambitious. Maybe we make life too complicated. Maybe we need it a little more simple so that we can read the Bhagavatam, because it's gonna make a difference. And don't think that time will not strike. Time works in different ways. Sometimes time is just slowly working like a grinding stone, and you notice it every once in a while with some extra lines, or things begin to puff a little bit, or or the opposite in some cases, you shrivel up. There are different varieties of the same thing, what time does. Things start growing in places where they're not meant to grow. Time does these things. But I saw in my favorite old people are the old people in Jaipur, because they're so enthusiastic in the Radha Govinda temple. They are just so fired up. The pujaris, they come and they throw water, and all the people open their mouths, catch that water, and they run for the tulsi which is given on the side of the altar, and they want it. And the old man, I can't imitate it today, but they shout something like, and it goes a little higher too, which I can't do. But a kirtan, which is so full of energy and enthusiasm. And if you're quick after the arti, you go to the Radha Gopinath temple by the back lane, and when you get there, it's not old men, it's old ladies leading the kirtan. And these ladies are old, their chins and noses are almost grown together. And these ladies are, but they dance like young girls. And it's not long that they will be. You can understand. So these are beautiful old people because they spend a lifetime remembering Krishna. It has to be a lifetime. It's not going to be, cramming up for the final exam quickly, like we usually do. Like 1 week before we leave this world, we're going to read the Bhagavatam. No, it has to be a daily thing. Therefore, let us have the Bhagavatam open. If you have a house, or if you don't have a house, what to do. But if you have a house, then you can have the Bhagavatam open. So it's always inviting you. Read me. Please read me. And every day, read something in the Bhagavatam. It is so nice to read the Bhagavatam. To a point where the Bhagavatam is always with us, and always in our mind, and accompanying us wherever we go. That the Bhagavatam is just naturally there with us, and that we see the world through the Bhagavatam, through the lens of the Bhagavatam. That's the idea. The book Bhagavat, the person Bhagavat. So the person Bhagavat is so much absorbed in the Bhagavatam, has adjusted his life so much according to the Bhagavat, and sees the world through the Bhagavat. Shastra Chakshus. So this is really what would be a wonderful thing if we could see through the scriptures. We had our conference yesterday about finding your own way of life, and that's okay. I don't mind if you want to go through the world in a gypsy cart, pulled by horses, or if you want to have a personal helicopter, as long as you chant Hare Krishna and read the Bhagavatam, ultimately, that is the essence. So whatever we do, whatever our lifestyle may be, let it be pure, let it be dedicated to Krishna, let there be hearing and chanting, and let there be devotional service. The 10 offenses are considered important to avoid in the chanting of the holy name. Do not blaspheme the Vaishnavas. Vaishnava Ninda is the first one, and that is not simple. I touched upon it this morning. Let us serve the Vaishnavas. Let us somehow or other always serve Vaishnavas. And let us just, whenever a Vaishnava says anything about us, right, that there's something wrong with us, then immediately we say, oh yes, definitely. If someone says, you are a fool, we say, yeah, I'm a fool. Tell me all about it. I know. I'm so foolish that I think I know. I'm so foolish that I think I know how foolish I am. See what a fool I am. I'm even more foolish than I know. So in this way, one cannot be offended. When one has that mood, one can never be offended by anyone. No one can offend us, no matter what they say. You are useless. I know I'm useless. I'm so sorry. Sorry for that. Please forgive me. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter. Guru Padma is very good at that. Whatever you say to him, you turn it to the humble position. If I think whether he is totally humble, that's another story. That's a very difficult thing to realize. Even Guruji might not fully realize all that, but he always takes the humble position. That he does. I was talking to him today, and he did it again. And so I appreciate that. Guru Padma is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who is here to bless all of you. So that's his kindness. And we need blessings. We need blessings. How else are we going to do this? How are we going to live like this for our whole life? Totally. Whole life. Whole life. Until you're old. Until you're my oldest disciple. Praravita has a song which is, about being the last Prabhupada disciple on earth. And it's a good song. He's singing that song and he's saying, why me? Of all, right? Somehow or other Krishna. He's just singing as if he would be the last Prabhupada disciple. And he's saying, why me? You could have chosen so many other ones, better ones, more qualified ones. Why did you choose me? The last one on earth. It's like this. It's a lifetime. A lifetime. So the lifetime, we can do it a lifetime when we have blessings from the devotees. The blessings from the devotees actually will bring Krishna's grace upon us. See, Krishna is so appreciative of his devotees. So you look at the devotee. Now I'm looking at the devotee and I don't want to start, but if I could, if I wanted to. But look. Krishna is right behind him. See? Oh yes. So this is the situation, that whenever you look at the devotee, Krishna is right behind that devotee. And Krishna is smiling upon that devotee. So here we are. Oh my God, look at this devotee. And there's Krishna standing behind smiling. So what will Krishna do? Krishna will look like suddenly Gopinath's on the altar like, what is this, you know? What are they saying? Right? So Krishna is looking at his devotee. So in this way, Krishna is not pleased when we are criticizing his devotee. So that we have to think. So even when we are tempted to say something about devotee, Krishna, don't forget, Krishna is right behind it, looking at that devotee. So we should glorify the devotee, serve the devotees. Second offense, consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma to be equal to the name of Lord Vishnu. Simply, Hiranyakasipu, he wanted immortality and all that, and Lord Brahma said, how can I give what I don't have? That was the point. Lord Brahma doesn't have immortality, and Lord Shiva doesn't have immortality. So they cannot give. So in that way, only Vishnu can give us an eternal position. And only Krishna can take us to Vrindavan and give us that position. So in this way, we understand we should not, we should just turn to Krishna. And yeah, one can of course think, well, I worship Krishna, but I worship the demigods for some other things. Yeah. But Krishna can take care of everything. One has that faith in that. Krishna can provide everything. So let us turn to Krishna. And third offense, disobey the orders of the spiritual master. So I'm a practical person, so I always say, well, if the order is too tall, just come and talk to me. And I'll see if we can make some adjustments. And if not, I'll let you know. You say, well, can we have 14 rounds? No. 16, no less. And even when you're sick, 16 rounds. I mean, even in the middle of a Vyasa-puja festival, I still have 7 left. And I know what's going to happen. I'm chanting tonight at 11 o'clock, I think. Sure, that's what's going to happen. Because everyone wants to talk. And all right, I will do that. But I will chant at 11 o'clock. So you also must do it like that. You must finish it. Not at 11 o'clock. I always find the best rounds are chanted before Mangalarti. You know, the second best after Mangalarti, and then immediately after. Third best before dark, and the worst round after dark. That's sort of my rule of thumb for chanting. Fourth offense. See, that's why previously I joined families. It was so nice. A joint family, put the kids with grandma for a while, or with auntie, this, that. And the whole family would take care of a child, right? A village. And now it's just one people in a flat. You know, with a kid who then turns on the siren. Intense. Then it's hard to chant. Fourth offense, blaspheme the Vedic literature. Literature pursues in the Vedic version. So we respect all Vedic literature, but particularly we are interested in the Bhakti Shastra, in literatures that deal directly with devotional service. These are our principal books, and these are the books that we read. But the other ones, we respect them, because we know that they are preliminary and leading people to eventually becoming Vaishnavas. But we don't need to read all these other things. You know, like sometimes they say, they speak about Vedic culture. And nobody in our movement really knows what Vedic culture is. Because there's nobody. Nobody knows what Vedic culture is, because Vedic culture, not even the biggest scholar can tell us what Vedic culture is. If they do, take it from me, they're bluffing. Because it's just, all that we have is little pieces of a puzzle, and there's like more pieces missing than pieces that we have, And we sort of put a few pieces, and then the rest we sort of imagine around it and call it Vedic culture. So, in fact, whether that is completely a correct number, but Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, it says in Krishna Samhita, that at his time, only 6% of the Vedic literature was still available. Now, whatever is available, but a lot of the Vedic literature is not even available. So when it comes to us representing Vedic culture, we may as well forget it. We cannot do all the sanskars. We don't even have the scriptures anymore to do all the sanskars. Therefore we depend on Harinam. We depend on the holy name. We depend on the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that sense, there's no return to Vedic culture. Not even in India. Not for anyone. We need to simply take shelter of the holy name. Then we carry on to the fifth offense. Consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. The chanting of Hare Krishna is unlimitedly powerful because the holy name is Adinatra Naminam, non-different from Krishna. So, therefore, we can have full faith that it will work. It will do it because he is Krishna. But of course, we are begging Krishna for his mercy. He's not obliged. He's not obliged. But we chant to please Krishna. And when he is pleased, he will give his mercy. So that is fully possible, to get all the mercy through this chanting. So we should keep that in mind. We should not think it doesn't work. No, it works. We are not working. That's usually the problem. It's, the whole name works, but it's us who are not working. Sixth events give some interpretation on the holy name. The holy name is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's not any need for drawing so many meanings out of the holy name. Simply, Prabhupada said, Hare represents the pleasure potency of devotional service. So, by serving, Prabhupada said, it means, Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service. Krishna means all attractive. Hare, referring to the pleasure potency, to devotional service. And Ram, to transcendental happiness as the result of devotional service. So simple. And that's enough. Seventh offense, committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. Then Krishna withdraws. And they can chant and chant and chant, but Krishna withdraws. So then it says, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta says, the holy name is no longer manifest, there's only an empty shell. So we're chanting, no result. So we must be serious about following. Accidental fall down is one thing, but one should not make it a culture. Then it becomes a farce. So initiation is not some sort of whitewash from all the karma that we have stored from all these lives, and now there's this big sacrifice, and then 1, 2, 3, it's a big whitewash, and so much sin is gone. No, there is a change, absolutely. So much karma is burning up, but there's still a bit left after all, so that we still need to deal with, and still need to purify ourselves. But we can again become covered, and again forget, and again go into the material energy. That we should not waste this opportunity. So therefore, the spiritual master is our friend. Sudhita Surida There should be trust, there should be friendship, there should be, like me, it's got to be pretty far out before I'm shocked, right? Because, first of all, I'm from Holland, seen a lot, heard a lot, and so on. As the t-shirt said, seen it all, heard it all, done it all, but can't remember it all. That's my situation. But the point is, so I'm not easily shocked. So therefore one can come and speak about weakness, speak about failure. I'm not going to be the one with boots on and say, get out of here, you sinful wretch. Not like that. I will certainly say, oh, we've got a problem. I'll take it that it's not your problem, it's our problem. We've got a problem. Let's solve it. Let's see what we can do about it. So, one should not be afraid to take shelter. AIDS offense considered chanting of Hare Krishna to be one of the auspicious ritualistic ceremonies offered in the religious fruitive activities of Kadamba Kanana. Kadamba Kanana activities are material rituals that fix our material life. So now I'm chanting Hare Krishna, and how can this happen? This calamity now, how can it come? No. I've given my life to Krishna. I took initiation, I'm chanting every day, and now this happens to me? Oh, I don't know if Krishna exists. Where is God now? But this is nonsense, because the chanting of Hare Krishna is not for that. The chanting of Hare Krishna is for the pleasure of Krishna. It is not simply to fix our material life. It is to fix our eternal life. It is to fix our eternal relationship with Krishna. That is what it's for. Ninth offense, preach to the faithless means we don't tell them the intimate pastimes of Krishna, but we can tell anybody about the holy name, the Bhagavad Gita, and preach widely that we can. 10th offense, maintain material attachments even after so many instructions that we receive about them. Maintaining material attachments can be so many things. Surfing on the web in places where one shouldn't surf, or surf on the ocean where one also shouldn't surf, and so many other types of activity, because all these things maintain our attachments, and they bind us. So then we hold back. So we should be brave and just go for Krishna consciousness. It's a little difficult sometimes, but if there's a lot of, if we are engaged in service, then it's easy. Because there's just no time for material things. That's why ultimately service is our saving grace. 10th offense is, I already did, the so-called 11th offense, to be inattentive while chanting. Attentive chanting, Srila Prabhupada said, is to hear oneself chanting. It's very hard to fix the mind on the holy name, but to fix ourselves on our ear, that we can do, and then we can also, and then we automatically pronounce nicely. The mind is controlled. So to hear oneself chanting, that is the process. Okay, I've taken us in this way through some preparation. I've given all this advice from my side, so that you can very quickly progress. I know you're not going to follow it always. Nobody does. But you should, of course. And at least I hope you remember it. when you get in trouble. And we are still human beings. It's not that after the initiation you suddenly find there's some wings on your shoulder and you fly out of the temple room and do a few loops around the tower of the castle. It's not so easy. It's unfortunately, sometimes our human side comes out once again. And what to do. But we could not do anything else anymore. The devotee is Rasa-grama, one who has tasted the nectar of Krishna consciousness. How could you ever give up Krishna? Not possible. Too dry. One of my disciples said, I'm not chanting anymore. I said, oh. And this disciple said, I just have no taste for chanting. So I was thinking, what do I say now? And then I thought about it, and then finally the answer came. He said, look, for you, it's too late. It's too late. You can never leave Krishna. So whether you want or not, you're going to be a devotee. But you have one choice. You can either be a happy devotee or an unhappy devotee. It's up to you. Best I could come up with that. That's in that situation. I'm trying to say something that, could still make a person think, Took a few years, but as of present, again changing. Anyway, so spiritual life is like this. We must not lose this amazing opportunity that has come to us by the mercy of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada, all the Vaishnavas. I would like to ask Guru Prabhupada to speak a few words of blessings or wisdom, whatever he wishes to say.
I'm a very simple devotee.
That's good. You get the microphone. We'll be
very, very simple.
That's fine. As long as it's sublime.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Simply wonderful.
Simply wonderful. Actually, that was the first prasadam I tasted when the devotees came to a small city in the south of Holland, Roermond. Today I brought someone from Roermond, Dr. Rolf. It was given to me by Lokamata, also a Prabhupada disciple. Everyone in those days was a Prabhupada disciple. 1976. And so that was the first prasadam I tasted. Simply wonderful. I was very interesting. It was very interesting. And later I found out that the name was given by Srila Prabhupada. The American devotees in the beginning days, they experimented to try to make some rasgullas in an American way. So they used some American ingredients, milk powder, powdered milk, powdered sugar, and a lot of ghee. And then it came out, and they offered it to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said, simply wonderful. And in this way the name came to this preparation. And then one devotee said, Srila Prabhupada, you are simply wonderful. That song there. And so that is, so Maharaj just asked me to give some blessings or say a few words. No, I just talk about prasadam. Actually, prasadam doesn't only mean food that has been offered to Krishna. Prasadam means the mercy of Krishna. So I think the blessings are already there. I don't have to give them. Srila Prabhupada already blessed us all because we took the right decision. We took shelter of Kadamba Kanana Maharaj. So then So that is Srila Prabhupada's mercy to all of us that even someone who is not a disciple of Prabhupada, he just came a little after me, just a little bit. And but I think he is 1,000 times better than me, and I'm very happy. Oh, sorry, I don't want to embarrass you, right? So what happened is that by Prabhupada's blessings, even someone who is not his disciple but a disciple of his disciple becomes more qualified than a disciple of Prabhupada, like me. Sorry,
they're becoming the disciple of the disciple of the disciple of Prabhupada.
Yes.
Very simple. Through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the mercy of the Maharaj, we're all blessed. So that's wonderful. And what else could I say? I don't know, anything? Not much, because there's not so much time, I guess. Eternity is very long, but we're all eternal. We are not his body. And now we have to realize that. We are all part and parcels of Krishna. And Krishna is the all-attractive, and he is an unlimited ocean of bliss. And because we are part and parcels of him, we become part of that ocean of bliss if we perform devotional service to him. And that is the entire philosophy in a nutshell. You need a bona fide spiritual master, so today you took the right decision. You will get initiation from the bona fide spiritual master who comes from the line of the Brahma, Gaudiya, Vaishnava Sampradaya, and after Srila Prabhupada. So everything is blessed, we're all blessed, it's wonderful. And thank you very much. To surrender.
I've seen Guru Padma doing the last kitchen cleanup and all these things, like really working very hard in the Amsterdam temple, in the Herengracht, those days. He was Mr. Surrendered Soul and Mr. Always Busy. He's forgotten now, but I remember distinctly. I've also seen Guru Padma much later in his house in Maastricht, where he made an amazing altar. He's an artist, and he made like beautiful altar of domes and pink, and it looks just like Jaipur when you're there. It's quite a special thing. Beautiful painting of Jarikanda in the Hague in the temple. Yeah. Big, a whole mural thing of Jarikanda pastime. Like that here in the Benelux. Guru Padma is just someone who is always there, and that's why I'm happy that he could speak today. We want to now start taking the vows, and the first devotee that I would like to invite to come is a devotee who began his Krishna consciousness many years ago. I used to meet him in Antwerp. I remember for a while he was working in a health food store or something like that. And we're talking about that because I also used to be macrobiotic before Krishna consciousness, eat with chopsticks, and he could relate to those things. And later he moved here to Radhadesh, and he's been here for a long time. It is Bhakti Andre, and I'd like to ask you. Yeah, so it's really nice that this day has come. You can assist me. I need to So, my dear Yandre, without taking too much time, what are the 4 regulated principles that you promise to follow for the rest of your life? No eating, no sex, no intoxication,
Okay. And how many rounds are you promising to chant every day? Thank you very much.
Yeah, so
Let's just take advantage of this moment.
So from this day on, your name will be Yaduvamsa Das. So our Yaduvamsa means Das means the servant of the Yadu dynasty. Of Krishna, of course, appeared in the Yadu dynasty. And so that Yaduvamsa is a very auspicious dynasty, the dynasty of Krishna, all his family members, all amazing personalities. So just by finding out who are all the family members of Krishna, we have to really read the Krishna book. And by doing that, we automatically will become purified. So may you always read the Krishna book. It's a very nice book. And simply by reading the Krishna book, one can get everything. One can realize all the conclusions of spiritual knowledge. Bhakti-Mar, now I have to find his beads. They were about this, was it? Marco Hopman, here they are. So Bhakti Marco is from Maastricht, near Maastricht, that means close to Radhadesh, the south of Holland, and has been closely connected to Guru Padma, who has an Amata, and we hope also that together they'll do something more for Maastricht, because Maastricht is an important place in the Netherlands, main city in the south. So what are the 4 regulated principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
No meat, fish and nuts, no illicit sex, no gambling and no intoxication.
And how many rounds?
16 men.
Okay.
Yeah, well, your name from this day on will be Mahamantra Das. It's one of those names, you know. It's just, it's quite a name. It's if you have that name, you know, then I could never forget. So I hope that the name will be a great source of strength in your spiritual life. I mean, that's the idea of these names. We get a spiritual name so that we will no longer identify with the bodily concept of life, the life where we came from, and then a blessing. And so that the blessing obviously is Mahamantra. Well, that's quite something to remember. See, everyone will call you Mahamantra. So it will be good for me also. Okay, then Bhakti Victor. And so Bhakti Victor is a book distributor and is trying to be one. And well, you know, it's that spirit of trying, and in whatever service we do, we just keep on trying, and then Krishna will help us. And when Krishna sees that we're really trying, then at one point Krishna will just enter into that situation, and then miracles begin to happen. So I'm very happy that you're doing that service. Of course, you may also do other services in the future. I can not look in my crystal ball, I don't know. As long as you are engaged in devotional service for the rest of your life. So, what are the 4 regulating principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
No meat eating, no illicit sex, no meat eating, eggs and fish, and no illicit sex. No intoxications. No gambling. Minimum 60.
Alright, so from this day on, you will be known as Vijay Govinda. Vijay means victory, and Govinda is Krishna, right? So Vijay Govinda is the name of a deity of Baladevi Jabusam. You can find in Vrindavan in the temple of Radha Kukulananda, just next to Radha Rama. And that deity is interesting because it's a black Krishna looking to the side. And he has conch shell eyes, and around the conch shell eyes there are big red rings. So his eyes are very piercing and very hypnotic. And Radharani, she stands there, she's maybe there. She stands like completely bamboozled, you know, that is the word. Completely like... And it's definitely this time that Krishna won. And therefore his name is Victorious Krishna. So your name used to be Victor, but now it's Victorious Krishna. It's translated. These are the most serious beats we have today. Although these ones are also powerful. So, Bhakta Andreas is from the island Malta. So, now we have someone in the family on Malta, so if you want to go on holidays, you know where to go. He is, I met him in Australia, in Melbourne, and he was doing a lot of devotional service there, really running here and there, and always, oftentimes being the one who would just do the needful. So I appreciate that. Getting ecstatic symptoms. Alright, I won't keep you there. So, what are the 4 regulative principles that you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex.
And how many rounds you promise to chant every day?
Minimum of 16 rounds.
Okay, I have to, sorry, I forgot your name. I did mention fish and eggs. Yeah, no fish and eggs also. Yeah.
No fish and eggs.
Especially on an island, you have to be. Come a little closer because my arm is only 1 meter.
Alright, so from this day on, you will be known as Antaryami Krishna Das. Antaryami means within, who's inside in the heart. So it's Krishna within the heart. So may you always be connected with Krishna in the heart. And not only with Krishna in the heart, but also with Krishna in the Shastra, Krishna speaking to the Vaishnavas. May just spend your life with Krishna. So Antaryami Krishna. Thank you very much. Welcome. Hare. Okay, and then we have I'm just gonna call people as I find the beats because it's too complicated otherwise. So I have Bhakti Eva. She also has been around for a long time, from Sweden. And for many years she has been faithfully coming to many programs in Sweden, and so it is very nice that when after a long time in Krishna consciousness someone takes this step, because it's the mature fruit of everything we've done, and then suddenly after that initiation everything starts to blossom. It's very nice that you're here today. So what are the 4 regulative principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
No intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, no meat eating.
Anything more other than meat eating?
Fish and egg.
No fish and egg.
No fish and egg.
And how many rounds did he do? It's so funny. How many rounds are you promising to chant every day without fail?
At least 16 rounds.
Very good. So I wanted to give you a name of a place in Vrindavan, and that you may find residence in Vrindavan. of course, you live in Sweden, but from today on, you will be only a tourist in Sweden. From today on, you will not live in Sweden anymore. From this day on, you will live in Vrindavan. So your name from now on will be Varsana Vasini. Of course, it's a little long, I know. So we'll usually call you just Varsana. You know. But the full name is Varsana Vasini, who's a resident of Varsana, which is in Vrindavan, the place where Radharani lived in the palace. I've written it down for you. Varsana Vasini. Navita from South Africa. So Navita was on the second birthday party today because we already celebrated one in her house recently, which was also really very nice. She organized it very nice, with a lot of devotion. She's also helped in publishing books and carrying books. Last year she brought so many books to Europe, the books that you got, and this year again. So she is always eager to serve the Vaishnavas in various ways. And yeah, that is a very good quality. So may you build on that service to the Vaishnavas and make it, may it grow and grow and grow. So we decided to do this initiation here in Radhadesh because in Durban during Rath Yatra there was a very quick arrangement, and now we have more time. So you must tell me what are the 4 regulative principles that you follow for the rest of your life, and then how many rounds you will chant.
No meat eating, including chicken and fish.
So then your name from this day on will be Nivedita Devidas. So Nivedita, the word Nivedan means to surrender. So Nivedita is one who has surrendered. So that is the point. To live up to something like that, of course, will take a lifetime, or hopefully on one. But that's the meditation, to somehow or other surrender. Srila Prabhupada said surrender means to not just surrender in some areas, but in everything, even all the small things. That is surrender. Or sometimes they say mind, body, and words to surrender. So Nivedita, the one who is surrendered. Hare Krishna. So Lily is a teacher, and so on. So we are colleagues. And so that is good. And it hasn't always been so easy, right? To work, family life, spiritual life, to bring it all together. But I'm very glad that you carried on, and then Krishna makes it all possible. Because no one can take these initiations on their own strength. You all do it by Krishna's mercy. And in that way, we can rest assured, we can feel comfortable. You know, at these initiations, everyone feels a little nervous. It's kind of normal to be like a little nervous. But it's not a problem, because we can make such promises, we can do this, because Krishna will help us. So from this day on, no, first you have to tell me. Fortunately, Guru Das is here. Okay, what are the 4 regulated principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
I promise to not eat meat, fish or eggs.
Cheek.
I promise to not gamble, nor to intoxicate myself, or not to have illicit sex. And I will chant a minimum of 16 rounds each day.
Very good. Okay, your name from this day on will be Lavanya Rupa Devi. So Lavanya Rupa is speaking about a beautiful form, not the form of the material world, but the real beautiful form of the spiritual world. So may that original beautiful form of the spiritual world, the spiritual body, manifest soon as a result of your devotional service. So by meditating on that eternal and on the beautiful forms of the pure devotees like Srimati Radharani, may you also join them in the spiritual world.
Okay, this one has a picture.
So Bhakti Sylvia is from Milano and from Italy, and is very enthusiastic. Has been doing service there in the Centro Culturale Centro Culturale in Milano, and I met her in Villa Vrindavan, and she came and visited me in various places, and over the years our relationship developed, and I'm very glad. She's very systematic. She wrote me like a letter, and then the first letter was the first letter, and then I got another one, second letter. It just, each one, the numbers go up, you know. What number are we now? That's many numbers. I like that. It was very nice. No, I'm not making fun of you. I actually like it. So what are the 4 regulated principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
No meat, no fish, no eggs, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex.
And how many rounds?
Minimum 16 rounds.
Yeah. Every day, that is very good. What was it? Yeah, I have it.
From this day on.
Your name will be Sindhu Kanya Devidas. So Sindhu Kanya is Sindhu means ocean, Kanya means daughter, the daughter of the ocean of milk. That was Lakshmi Devi, who came out of that ocean. Sindhu Kanya. This is on your paper. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And then Bhakti Anna, something like, I can't read it. Hare Krishna. So I'm sorry I couldn't really speak before the initiation, it was just too much happening. But of course, Bhakti Anna, originally from Russia, I guess it is. Yeah. From Russia. Which place in Russia? Yes?
Какое место?
Kazakhstan.
Oh, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan. Okay, so she's from Kazakhstan. And, but now she lives in Cologne, which is 2 hours away from Radhadesh. So, I will come there in the month of May sometime, for a weekend. So, what are the 4 regulated principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
Deutsch, ja, das ist gut. Ihr versteht kein Deutsch.
Kein Fleisch, kein Fisch und keine Eier essen. Kein Sex aus der Ehe. Keine Rauschmittel und keine Glücksspiele. Und mindestens 16 Runden am Tag.
Okay.
Mit Liebe und Liebe.
Okay.
So from this day on, your name will be Ananya Priti. Ananya means nothing else, oder nichts anderes als, nicht anders als. Priti means love, Liebe, nicht anders als Prem, als Liebe, Priti. Nothing else but love for Krishna. Welcome. Bienvenido. So Yasoda is from Mexico. And I've never been to Mexico. I must go to Mexico. But so far I haven't been to Mexico. But somehow or other, one day, she's from the Guadalajara temple in Mexico. And one day she organized this whole Vyasa-puja for me in Mexico, right? And I lived in there, and it was a big one too. You know, it's like the whole temple was part of it. So it's like quite an arrangement, and sent me like a video of it. Right? So after that, wow, what could I do? So one thing comes to another, and then more people from Mexico also came, and suddenly I don't know what it is. All these Mexicans. Arriba. See, no? So, of course, the name is Yasoda, and it's hard to change the name like Yasoda. So I've been breaking my head from that one for a while. But we'll first ask you, she's been a devotee for, I guess, her whole life. She's from a devotee family. She just lives her whole life in a temple. Her brother is the temple president, which is a little difficult. And her brother suddenly becomes temple president. Yeah, so she is a lifetime devotee. So I'm asking you to follow what you've always followed. What are the 4 regulated principles that you're going to continue for the rest of your life? If you want to say in Spanish also good, huh?
No comer carne, ni huevos pesados, ni juegos de azar, no intoxicaciones y no sexo indiscriminado. Y cantar 16 rondas mínimo diarias por el resto de mi vida.
Muy bien.
Sí, perfecto. Completo. That was right. Okay, so I do want to make a change. So from this day on, you will be known as Yasomati Prema. I had one Yasamati, otherwise I would have just made it Yasamati, but you know, so I had to make it Yasamati. Yasamati. Very nice. And she will stay in Radhadesh for a little while. Klara un mes más. 2 meses más. Oh, 2 months or for the rest of her life. She likes it too. Okay, we'll see what is possible. Om Krishna Loki. And the Gopinath desires. If Gopinath desires, then everything is possible. Hare Krishna. So Savitri also has been a devotee already for a long time, and therefore also grew up as a devotee. So she's from Czech Republic, living on the Czech farm all right now. Are you there, or where are you living now? She's married to Purush Troya and they live somewhere near the Czech farm, which is a nice farm. So what are the regulated principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life?
No meat, eggs and fish, no intoxication, no gambling and no illicit sex.
And how many rounds you promise to chant every day?
Minimum 16 rounds.
Okay.
So from this day on, you will be known as Sarojini Devi. So Sarojini means the one who appeared in a lotus flower. So we all know that Srimati Radharani appeared in a lotus flower. So, where the name comes from, Sarojini Devi.
And Bhakti Maya.
It's good that you use that name. So, Bhakti Maya is from Zagreb in Croatia, or that's at least where she lives these days. And yeah, she is thoughtful, she's well educated, and therefore thinking about life. She is enthusiastic, devotee, and yeah, we're glad the auspicious time has come. So what are the 4 regulated principles you promise to follow for this?
No meat, fish and eggs. No intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex, and every day with your mercy, minimum 16 rounds.
And what if my mercy will not be there?
I didn't think about it.
I guess it's going to be there. So that should be okay. Okay, so your name will be Madana Lasa Devidas. Yeah, so Madana Lasa is one of the gopis, and the name literally means, alas means to faint, you know, and Madana means love, so one who is fainting due to ecstatic love. Madana Lasa. And that's a bit high, but we are only the servants. It's not that we're expecting that you will start fainting now, left and right, but serving the pure devotees, following in the footsteps of the pure devotees. We cannot imitate, but we can try to follow their example as much as we can. And in that way, gradually, we also become pure devotees. So may you become a pure devotee. So, Dimple is originally from India, but lives in Norway. Such a cold place. But somehow or other, Khan is interesting because, you know, to wind up in Norway, I don't think as a child you could ever have imagined that. But somehow or other it happened. But then by Krishna makes all these arrangements, because then there you meet the devotees, and then there you yourself become a devotee. And so we can see that we are coming in Krishna consciousness just by Krishna's arrangement. And that he is actually all along looking after us. So Krishna will continue to look after us also after this initiation. So you can tell me what are the 4 regulative principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life.
No meat eating, fish or eggs, and no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, and every day chanting 16 rounds. Minimum.
All right, so your name from this day on will be Divya Gita. Divya Gita means the divine song, and the servant of the divine song. So may you always live with the Bhagavad Gita, and may that just be your guide in life. So that divine Gita. And if you dedicate yourself and you yourself become like the Gita personified, then you'll become a great saint personality, and Krishna will work through you. Then this initiation will be very successful. Divya Gita. I hope you like it. Is from the Czech Republic, and well, I don't know exactly how many years he's been practicing Krishna consciousness, but a number of years. Around 7. 7 with devotees. A few ups, few downs, but that's normal, because we cannot blindly walk into this movement. We need to investigate what it's about, and then when we sort of get a little convinced about the philosophy, then we have to adjust our life, and not only in an idea, but by practice. And then once we practice for a while, then we can take initiation. So I'm very glad that you're here today. So you can tell me what are the 4 regulative principles you're going to follow for the rest of your life.
I promise that I will follow 4 regulative principles, which are no eat meat, fish and eggs, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxication. And I promise you, Guru Maharaj, that I will every day chant minimum 16 rounds.
That is very good.
I'm very happy with that promise. Yes. So then your name will be from now on. It is the name. It means the final offering, the final sacrifice that makes everything complete. Yeah? So your name from this day on will be Purnavuti Devi. Bhakti Simona. So Bhakti Simona has been living in France now and is serving in Mayapur together with Janananda Maharaj. And that's a really, I really appreciate that, because the devotees right now are making an effort with a lot of enthusiasm to bring new life to New Mayapur. It's an important place. Srila Prabhupada went there. I will also go there for Balaram's appearance day, and I invite all of you also. So you can all start thinking about it. Balaram's appearance day in New Mayapur. It's close to everywhere. Yeah, Balaram's very nice in New Mayapur. So, to celebrate Balaram's appearance day with Lord Balaram, that, of course, it's something I miss from Vrindavan. So I'm happy to go to New Mayapur. And you're all invited. So, Bhakti Simona, what are the 4 regulated principles you promise to follow for the rest of your life? You can say it in whatever.
No eat meat, eggs and fish, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. And I will chant 6 rounds of my mantra every day.
Very good.
Nice, thank you. So I want to give you a special name. One time I was in some initiation ceremony with Sachinanda Maharaj, and Maharaj was going to everyone, and I'm going to give you a special name. And he was saying it to everyone, right? And he said, I think your name is the best name. So I'm going to give you a special name. From this day on, you will be known as Sarahamsi Devidasi. Sarahamsi is a name, Bhaktivinoda Thakur came up with that name. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying, Krishna Prema Sarahamsi. And with that he meant to say how Srimati Radharani is like a swan, is taking the essence of Krishna Prema. Sarahamsi. That's quality of Radharani, name of Radharani. And take a little while to get used to. It's a nice name. And a unique name. Sarahamsi. Hare Krishna. Bhakti Fernanda. So, Hare Krishna. So Bhakti Fernandez is also from Mexico. And she is the wife of Balavanta, who is already my disciple in Norway anyway. But he's taking pictures, he's ready in action with the camera. They are often traveling with Harinam Ruchi and sort of on and off part of that kirtan party. And That's a wonderful service. Really perfect. So what are the four regulating principles? You promise to follow for the rest of your life.
No comer carne o pescado, no sexo ilícito, no intoxicación, no autoborrachar y ninguna disciplina.
Okay, so from this day on, your name will be Nandita Devidasi. So Nandita is a nice name because it means one who gives happiness. So, ¿qué es mejor? ¿Qué es mejor que eso? Sí, dar felicidad a todo el mundo. Eso es la perfección, la vida. Bhakti Rina, I don't know where she went. So, Bhakti Rina. Somehow or other, a whole family is here. My father came, uncles, and more. And the whole family, they're all devotees. And they believe in the Bhajans in the beginning. Right? And we hope they will do again during the yajna whenever we ask for it. So that will be very nice. So Bhakti Rina is living in London, and yeah, she looks after me there sometimes when I'm there, and very well. And gives me healthy things. But also tasty. And then Arjun's sister is trying to give me sometimes other things. She expressed attention to forbidden things. So Bhakti Rina, what are the four regulative principles you promised to follow for the rest of your life?
No meat eating, no fish, no eggs, no intoxications, no gambling, and no illicit sex.
And how many rounds every day?
Minimum 60.
Very good.
I need to hold the paper too for the name. Yes, I have to get used to it. It's a long name. 2 parts though, so we might call you most of the time just like part 1, that's okay. But from this day on, you will be known as Ramani Siromani. It's again the poetry of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Ramani Siromani, Ramani Siromani. Siromani means the crest jewel, the jewel on the head, and Ramani means a young girl. So Srimati Radharani is described as Ramani Siromani, as the crest jewel of all young girls. Devidas, servant, 100 times removed. Gopi Bhartapali, Panayoga, Sindas, to be the servant of the servant. But in this way, by meditating on Krishna and his eternal associates, we'll become one of Krishna's eternal associates. Hare Krishna. is not on the list. No. You were not on the list. So then we carry on with the sacrifice, and also some devotees who were initiated, but I don't know the name. What is your good name? Okay. Radhadesh, the disciple of Kesava Bharati Maharaj, will also be here and also join us in the sacrifice. So, I will come down, do the sacrifice, and or maybe I should just change. Maybe you should do the sacrifice so that I can change if you are done. Usually I do myself, but since it's only around and someone should chant anyway, it's auspicious. So, yeah. So we can have a little kirtan while he will, because Achman is done, he'll just light the fire, and then he'll do his personal Achman, light the fire, and then he'll
start to repeat the mantras. We will repeat one word and you can repeat after that. And after each time when I say Swaha, you can throw grains in the fire with the right hand with these two fingers. So please just totally go in front so that more people can go inside.
Krishna padam, Sahagana, Lalita, Vishaka, Vitamscha, Svaha, Sri Chaitanya, Manobishta, Stapita, Yena Bhutale, Svayam Rupa, Damahyam, Dadati, Svapadantikam, Svaha, Nama Om, Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Pristaya, Bhutale, Srimate, Kadamba Kanana Swami, Inamine, Svaha, 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 Nama Om, Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Pristaya, Bhutale, Gurudasa, Advaita Swami, Inamine, Svaha, Svaha. Sannyavari Paschatya Veshatarine Swaha 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Vishnuprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Sri Varshavanam Devi Ayataya Vipataye Krishna Sambandha Jnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurujvala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Sri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namaste Gauravani Vimurtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Yudapasiddhanta Samsaharine Swaha 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 Namo Gaurakishwaraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Kasambode Padambujaya Te Namaha Swaha 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 Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchitanandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Swaha 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 Gauravirbhava Bhumistvam Nirdeshta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannataya Te Namaha Swaha 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 Vanchakalpa Rupyascha Vipasindhurya Evacha Atitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Swaha 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 Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Radayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradvishe Namaha Swaha 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 Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Svaha 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 He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Svaha 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 Jayata Suratapango Mama Manda Matevgati Matsarvasva Padambuja Radha Madana Svaha 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 Idyatindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimat Ratnagara Simhasamastau Srimat Radha Srila Govinda Deva Sevimana Smarami Svaha 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 Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamshivata Tataskitaha Karshandvenu Svanargopi Gopinata Shriyastunaha Svaha 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 Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Ishabano Devi Ramami Haripriye Svaha 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 Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radhara Vyasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Svaha 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Svaha Svaha Svaha
You know, all the initiates, please stand up and take the banana with your two hands.
Namo Brahmanya Devaya O Brahmana Hidaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Svaha Svaha
Now please put the bananas inside the fire. Now you can continue with kirtan.